Hey y'all, it's Juliana here, and I am standing next to a Yucca filamentosa, otherwise known as an Adam's needle or bear grass. This is one of the native species that we have growing on Spring Island, and I wanted to tell you all about it because I was out at the Loblolly Loop Trail last week and noticed my first ever Yucca filamentosa. I was drawn to it because of the hairy filaments that come off of the leaf blades of this plant, which is of course where that species name filamentosa comes from. And as I was looking into this plant, I learned about a really cool butterfly species that is feeding off of yucca plants. Unlike most caterpillars, it's not feeding off of the leaves, but instead it's feeding off of the roots. And the way you can find these caterpillars is by looking for something called a larval tent, or what I like to call a cocoon tube, coming out of the ground or out of the base of the plant. When the giant skipper egg hatches, the caterpillar actually burrows into the plant and makes its way down towards the root system, where it will create its cocoon tube. The cocoon tube connects it to the surface of the earth or the surface of the substrate and the root, so it's able to move up and down that tube. The tube itself is lined with silk, which the caterpillar creates. It uses the tube to stay out of harm's way while it eats all that it needs to in order to pupate. Now there are two species of giant skipper. You've got the Yucca giant skipper and you have the Cofaqui giant skipper. Now the Yucca giant skipper is known to create its cocoon tube right out of the center of the plant. And when I surveyed about 10 different Yucca filamentosa, I only found cocoon tubes on 2 plants, and there were 3 total of these tubes, and all of them are coming out of the base near the bottom of the plant. So this might mean that what we have is, instead of a Yucca skipper, a Cofaqui skipper, or a Megathymus Cofaqui. Cofaqui skippers are pretty rare in the state. There aren't a whole lot of recent reported sightings, and so this could be a really exciting finding for Spring Island and for the state in general, but we aren't gonna really know for sure which species of Megathymus this is until the caterpillar pupates sometime next year. This caterpillar is gonna be feeding off of the roots of this plant until next season, sometime in the spring or summer is when we might expect an adult to emerge. Now, I sent photos of this to some of the experts that have been coming to Spring Island and doing butterfly and moth surveys, and they are all leaning, like I am, towards the Cofaqui skipper over the Yucca skipper because of the location of that cocoon tube. Regardless of which species of Megathymus or giant skipper this is, once they emerge, they can be really hard to find because they are not nectaring insects. They are not coming to our flowers and pollinating them. And in fact, the adults won't really eat anything at all. So in order for us to confirm which species this is, we're gonna need to be present when they emerge and when they're around their cocoon tube. Time will tell, so you can expect that we'll probably be out here multiple times through the spring and summer to see if we can't spot the adults. So stay tuned because we'll be back to let you know what we might find.